SAIC Volkswagen and has been through various roles specializing in sales. He joined Delphi Automotive in China from 2005 as Senior Manager for Asia Pacific, where he was providing the leadership for the Asia region, covering sales planning, business growth and strategy development. Joining Sensata in 2010, Kevin has started as a sales director. He was later assigned to Sensata Korea as business leader. Since then, Kevin has assumed the role of Asia Commercial Director for Sensata Electrical Protection Business. Most recently, Kevin was General Manager of Auto Japan, moving to Auto China and India in July 27, while also serving as President of Sensata Technologies Japan for 2 years.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Thank you very much for the introduction. Good afternoon. Very happy to be here. First time being in Intergy conference. I think this is a great platform to talk about the emissions. Afternoon meeting is always challenging, especially after food, especially after Sensata sponsored food. But I try to make the presentation reasonable and attractive with my slides. Recently, I think a lot of people, especially for automotive people, are talking about the so-called megatrends, which is CASE, CAS. C means connectivity, A means autonomous drive, S means sharing, and E means electrification. So those are very nice things, and some of the OEMs put very aggressive timeline about 2019, 2020, that they're going to stop the traditional ICE engine, ICE vehicles and move into either plug-in hybrid and purely e-vehicles. But I think there are still markets, developing and evolving markets like China and India, where we still need to address the needs because of the regulation and performance driven by efficiency improvement, safety, and environment protection. And that's exactly where we are here and talking about those very, very critical things that we are carrying as a near-term benefits to ourselves and to the customers and to the end users. This morning, I think the session was very interesting. I think as a supplier, we are hearing a lot from OEMs from their perspective about, in India, having the BS4 conversion within 3 years into BS6. It's a big challenge. It's a challenge, especially in engineering side, not talking about development, talking about validation, talking about product readiness by the time of 2020. And I think from a customer side, we are hearing that there's an additional cost, and the cost will convert into the vehicle and total cost. We talk about challenge in terms of fuel quality, and talk about other infrastructure, this and that. My reflection as a supplier is that that's exactly the reason we're here as a mission critical sensor supplier for automotive, with a proven product, with the proven design and technologies and expertise that we have in the industry, and serving the majority of the OEMs from the advanced countries, from advanced markets into the emerging markets. We are ready to meet your needs and solve your problems. So by the time of 2020, April timeframe, we should be all ready to get into the compliance of the BS6. So I think that's a message I want to set up as a responsibility of a mission critical sensor supplier from the industry. For many of the people here in the room may not know Sensata very well, I will spend 1-2 minutes and quickly talk about our company. Sensata is one of the world's leading supplier in sensing, electrical protection, control, and power management products. We are mainly playing in automotive, but we also are the major player in home appliance, aircrafts, industrial, military, and many other segments and markets. Today, the company is 3.2 billion company in sales, and 63% of that is coming from automotive. company has about 100 years history, starting from 1916. A small company was established, founded in Attleboro, near Boston in Massachusetts in the United States. And we've been over the past 100 years developing the products and developing the whole organization. Long time from 1959 to 2006, about 50 years, Sensata was part of Texas Instrument as a division called Controls and Sensors. 2006 to 2015, the 10 years is the abnormal period, 10 years for Sensata, where we've been able to grow our capability and our business rapidly in these 10 years, especially with organic growth, and also inorganically that we merge and acquire many of the companies. So Sensata started with the automotive pressure sensor 30, 40 years ago, and over the period, our product line being added with high temperature sensors, which we acquired a company called Sensonite in Europe. We acquired Honeywell Automotive on-board business, which offers Sensata the magnetic speed and position sensor technologies. Very near term, we acquired a company called Schrader, where Sensata being able to acquire the product called TPMS, tire pressure and monitoring system sensor technologies. So the latest partnership that we have is we are partnershiping with a company called Quanergy, which is a silicon-based company in the United States. We based on the partnership, we are specialized in developing and commercializing solid-state LiDAR sensors, which will be used in autonomous drive. Today, Sensata is shipping 1.4 billion devices, which most of them are highly engineered to our customers in the worldwide. As many of the global companies, Sensata has a global footprint in manufacturing and business size, and many sales and engineering offices around the world, and very close to our customers, where we can meet and respond to their needs and solving their problems. In Asia, we have footprints in China, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, and recently in India. We have an automotive headquarters office for India based in Pune, and we are continuing investing and developing our in-house capability under our Indian colleagues and leaderships. When we talk about automotive sensors, the key drivers are mainly the three things. One is the efficiency improvement. So many OEMs and customers are developing and innovating technologies in combustions and the powertrains to improve the productivity and fuel efficiency. Another key driver requiring additional sensor related to safety regulations and needs to fundamentally reduce losses of life, injuries, and accidents. I think today's session is very much focusing on the environment protection, where we have the aim with all the tightening regulations to reduce emissions in air and water. And those three fundamental needs from the market, from the end users, and from our automotive car OEMs are driving fundamental sensor needs in different applications I'm going to slightly talk about in my next few slides. So this is the Sensata vision, and as try to be compliant to the three fundamental needs in efficiency improvement, safety, and clean environment, Sensata is visioning ourselves to continue to satisfy the world's growing needs for safety, energy efficiency, and being a cleaner environment. Speaking about sensors in automotive applications, this is a car architecture, and we segment that into engine, transmission, safety, cabin comfort, exhaust, and chassis. I'm not going to read those sensors, in different applications, but just give you a number. As of today, we see more than 50 sensors will be used, are being required and installed into a particular vehicle. Give you one example is for engine. As many customers are developing the gasoline direct injection combustions and engine system with turbocharged technologies, the requirement is to have we call GDI sensors, and this GDI sensor is mission critical to fulfill the GDI system work perfectly to reduce about 10 to 15% fuel to improve 10 to 15% fuel economy. In terms of safety, I think everybody is familiar with so-called ESC system, electronic stability controls. And the ESC system, the take ratio has been tremendously increased worldwide today. And this ESC system requires the brake pressure sensor that Sensata is offering today to many of the customers and tier ones. The area that we see, which also drives a lot of sensor content, is the combing system, where a lot of OEMs are upgrading their car aircom systems from very traditional legacy, aircom system to be more efficient based aircom systems. That requires a conversion from simply, a switch based product into a sensor product which can have linear output and improve and help the control systems. And that kind of system is going to improve fuel efficiency about 2%. I know 2% sounds very small, but sometimes small number means big. So we are going to spend some time talk about exhaust system, and in this particular area, there's a exhaust pressure sensors and temperature sensors. The particle filter sensors will be required with improved exhaust treatment. So once again, we see a lot of opportunities associated with sensor contents driven by the three big pillars, like the fuel efficiency, the safety, and the clean environment requirements. We do have products very similar to the application I just mentioned about to passenger cars that we can support and fulfill the needs for heavy-duty trucks and off-road applications. I'm not going to go through that, but definitely Sensata is also well positioning to support our customers being compliant to the needs of fuel efficiency, emission reduction, and also safety needs. A lot of people sitting in the room are knowing more than we about the global overview and the emission regulations applies to different countries. Obviously, EU regulations from EU 3, 4, and then being migrated into EU 6 and 6B and C in the future, as a very common global standards being deployed and adapted into many of the other countries like Korea, and recently I think China and India. China is moving from China 5 and into China 6 stage, 6A, and later on 6B. India, I think everybody talked about, just escaped the BS5 and from 4 convert immediately into 6 within 3 years. So those global emission regulations are particularly pushing a lot in terms of technology innovations and the system operations, and where we see a lot of sensor content will be required to fulfill the needs that we see. This is just to give you guys a little bit quantified numbers in terms of how much NOx and the particles will be or has been reduced based on the different stage of the regulation being deployed, and continuously to improve the combustion and upgrade the exhaust after treatment systems are the major two mainstreams to help us to reach and being compliant to those continued tightened regulations to protect our environment. Another subject aside the story is about fuel efficiency is also being tightening, and there are many new systems and technology being broadly innovated and realized into the market to help to continue improving the fuel economy. The advanced engine technology that I talked about, GDI, the more automated transmission systems. I talked about the more smart and advanced AC conditioning systems, stop start, and obviously recently the hot topics about the e-vehicles and hybrid and plug-in hybrid, those kind of things. So more to come, but I think as a human being continue working hard to fulfill to reduce the fuel and to help the fuel efficiency. There will be more technology being invented. And we are very close as a sensor, specialized in sensor areas, as a sensor supplier, worldwide leading sensor supplier in the world. We are very, very closely monitoring the status and make sure that we step in as early engagement. Once again, those are the specific BS6 regulations will apply into the India market. And based on the timeline that we talked about. And for us, I think for many of us sitting in the room, BS6 is definitely a very, very big thing. And we want to make sure that we're here and in the right time with right development and investment and technology and product we can offer to make it happen. When you look at BS4, convert immediately into BS6, it requires a significant emission reduction for PM and for NOx both. And I'm not going to read those numbers, but once again, the message is that the requirement is really, really severe, and that given the time that we have is not enough, as I hearing from a lot of experts in this industry. And I think we really need to speed up ourselves and to make sure that we work together and united together to make sure that by the time we can be ready in an economical way and affordable way and deploy into the entire market. This is for the gasoline as well. You also see the requirement which typically drives a significant reduction for the emission items like NOx and particles. I'm not a technical expert, but this is to try to show you guys simply in a very simple and easy way to understand that look at the engine and exhaust systems. When we move from different emission regulations and requirements from BS3 and 4, and now we have to jump into 6. Theoretically, you need many sensors, as you can see, which color coding in green, like T12, T4, T5, T3, all those temperature sensor, and also the differentiation pressure sensors will be required to make sure that the whole system work perfectly and being compliant to the emissions. So Sensata has been really leading in developing the products driven by those regulations. Particularly here, I'm going to talk a little bit about differential pressure sensor that we invented in 2005. The first we call DPS sensors for diesel particle purpose, and we developed that in the EU 3 stage. And over the period, as the regulation, as the emission standard getting tightening and getting severe, we've been able to work with many of the customers and develop our differential pressure sensor, we call DPS, from Gen 1 into Gen 2, and moving forward even for the gasoline particle filter application, GPF applications, with a very solid products, designs and technologies and proven experience in the market. So why Sensata's DPS? This is a product specifically addresses many key challenges from a very harsh exhaust application environment. So we listed the 4 major areas, like the drainage area, the icing, the salt, and acid. those are the major challenges we very common often face when we talk about the exhaust environment. And the product being used is able to reduce the risks of icing and acidity with a good, very good dewatering systems. The product can also minimize the freezing of the condensed exhaust gases to prevent the permanent damage to the sensing diagram and the temporal output shifts. The product is also being able to make sure that to reduce the degradation and corrosion because of the exposure to the condensed exhaust gases. So those are the areas that our product is well designed to address the critical challenges once again we very common often will face to make sure that the whole system works perfectly. So Sensata is worldwide the leading supplier for DPS product. The DPS product is a so-called MEMS-based product, and today Sensata is one of the biggest MEMS-based supplier with annual output of over 70 million pieces to our global customers. We are holding 50% market share today with many of the customers we can name. One of the differentiations start from Gen 1 development of 2002 timeframe. Sensata is able to develop the in-house ASIC and sensing element. And we have the capability, in-house development and design capability within Sensata to minimize the supply chain risk. We have a global manufacturing footprint from Malaysia, China, UK to support our customers worldwide. One of the another products I just mentioned about is high temperature sensors, which is also very mission critical sensor being used in after treatment and exhaust environment. And Sensata is another worldwide leading supplier for high temperature sensors for automotive application. We are the only supplier today globally that we have 3 different technologies. The digital thermocouple technology, the platinum technology we call PT, and NTC technology that we have, which basically fulfills the sensor application for different temperature environments, from 250 degrees C to be over 1000 degrees C. We also have the integrated sensing element technologies and within Sensata for our PT200 TS200 series products, which has the fastest response timing on the global base compared to many of the competitors can offer. Today, our high temperature sensors is being used for automotive market for over 60% market share at 5 ppm globally quality level. Our product as a standalone sensor supplier, our product has been used and been compatible with all mainstream different exhaust system suppliers. Our system works with Delphi, our system works with Continental and Bosch, and all the tier 1 big suppliers you can name in the exhaust area. As we are being more and more global and continue strengthening our supply chain on the global base, we've been able to build our high temperature sensor manufacturing capability from Europe today and moving into China by the time of 2018, and will be ready for local production in India by 2019. So I think the timing is exactly on time to fulfill the PS6 SOP timing needs. We talked a lot about the exhaust side to address the emissions. One of the mainstreams as we talked about these sensors is about fuel efficiency improvement, energy efficiency improvement, and in the engine side, engine has been evolved over the period, and which also is driving a lot of sensor contents. I talked about gasoline direct injection system, which we call GDI. There's GDI sensors. There's oil pressure sensor needs. And recently, customers are talking about integrated oil pressure sensor with a temperature sensor together to have a better control and performance measurement. And this is another driver of sensor content. We call it OPS plus T. Cam crank. I talked about DPS and high temperature sensors. Many of the things that many of the sensors that applies to the engines as the engine being evolved to improve the fuel efficiency. Engine downsizing is mainstream. With the turbocharged systems, it can generate about 10% to 50% fuel saving without sacrificing the power and performance. Europe is leading, and China and Americans are catching up. And we also see some of the kind of pilot run in India market. Yesterday, we were at one customer and meeting the customer and talk about their first model launching with a GDI engine system. So it's very exciting to see that, and definitely as one of the global leading suppliers, Sensata is ready to help and support. So geographically, we are looking at from 2015, the GDI market is about 36% of the take ratio for all the gasoline engines, and we foresee by 2021 that take ratio will increase rapidly into about 60%, and that also drives a lot of platforms and applications being deployed into the market. Sensata is a leader for that application. Our sensor works and compatible with many of the system suppliers. I can name them. And versus the competition, the big differentiation, speaking about GDI sensor, is that Sensata is able to, or one of the few suppliers can meet the higher pressure, at the same time deliver a higher accuracy performance. Many other systems being developed and being put into the place to continue drive the fuel economy and fuel saving. The variable oil and fuel pump system requires the OPS, we call it OPS sensors. The stop-start systems also drives some sensor contents. We call it BBS, vacuum boost sensors. I think many people talk about EGR systems, which the system requires the differential pressure sensors and the temperature sensors as well. Those are the listed products that Sensata has a comprehensive portfolios that we offer into the market and supporting those advanced systems and technologies, and being continue evolving in some of the early development to achieve the fuel efficiency that we talked about. So Sensata is here to sell the value to our customers. We are the largest independent automotive sensor supplier on the global base, with a tremendous leadership in pressure sensors, high temperature sensors, and speed and position sensors, which fundamentally fulfill the needs driven by fuel efficiency, safety, and environment protection. I think I mentioned about our broad system expertise and compatibility, that we can work with many of the tier 1 systems, either engine system, transmission, exhaust, air conditioning, and safety system. We have a vertical integrated in-house sensing element development and design capabilities, which enable us uniquely in continuing improving the performance as well as driving the cost reduction. We have a very strong global footprint to facilitate flawless execution and meeting customer needs in the region and on the global base. I missed one point, but I want to talk about that, is that today, when you look at the products Sensata is offering to market, every single product that we have today can be produced minimum at 2 sites of the manufacturing site that Sensata have on the global base. Okay, so if we have the situations like force majeure and the earthquake and the the flood and those kind of things, the fires, Sensata's supply chain is solid enough to respond the customer needs and being flexible and to avoid line shutdown. So once again, we are your reliable partner, and I think we are your automatic choice for the automotive sensor applications to fulfill the emission and fuel efficiency compliance. That's the end of my speech. Thank you very much.
Good on time as well. Again, we're slightly out of time, so I'd encourage people that have questions to meet at your booth out in the hall, and then you can have a full discussion with Mr. Yi then. But I'd say thank you very much again to Mr. Yi.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
And